Welcome everybody. Saturday night J-League action comes from best Denki Stadium, home of Avispa Fukuoka, as Consadole Sapporo make one of the longest trips of their season, all the way from Hokkaido in the north to the island of Kyushu in the southwest, a round trip of about 4,500 kilometers. Plenty of travelling involved for Consa, of course, in every away game, but their record on the road is impressive this season, losing just one of 10 trips in J1 so far. And those fans rewarded with 23 goals that they've scored away from home, the most of any team in the division. But they'll face an Avispa side who returned to winning ways last week with a notable 1-0 victory at Cerezo Osaka, which ended a 4-match losing run in the league and 7 J1 games without a win. Can they build on that here against a Consa side still searching for consistency themselves? It was a strong start to the season for Avispa Fukuoka. In fact, they reached as high as 3rd place in the table by Matchweek 7 before tailing off again. It was important to Shigetoshi Hasabe's side that they were able to get that victory last week in what was an impressive defensive performance in Osaka. Scoring goals has been the issue so far, though, for the home team, averaging less than a goal a game. Just 18 through their first 19 matches, in complete contrast to their free-scoring opponents. Consadole with 40 goals so far. Only the leaders, F. Marinos, have more in J1 this season. Match week 20 in J1. Avispa Fukuoka ended their winless run last week. Now Consadole Sapporo hope to do something similar after 4 games without a victory of their own in all competitions, having won 6 of the previous 7. A long trip to Fukuoka for Misha Petrovic's team. Wet and windy conditions in the southwest tonight, but they are unbeaten in their last 3 trips here, and they have been the great entertainers throughout the course of this campaign so far. Only the leaders, F. Marinos, with more goals, but only the bottom club, Shonan Bellmare, have conceded more than Consa in J1 this season. Certainly the favourites of the neutrals so far in 2023. Recent meetings between these clubs have been close to call. 4 of the last 5 in all competitions, ending all square. 2-2 it finished in Sapporo earlier in the season. Consa let slip an early 2-goal lead. Stage almost set. The rain has been coming down pretty heavily earlier in the day. Not unusual in this part of the world at this time of the year, the rainy season stretching until September in Fukuoka. These conditions may play a part this evening. Did start the season very strongly at home in particular. Did Avispa Fukuoka. They won their first 4 J1 matches here this year. 5 in a row dating back to last season, but it is just 1 win in 6 now in front of their own fans in the league coming into this. Pre-match formalities almost at their conclusion. Really good crowd in today at best Denki Stadium, holds about 21,500. Located in the Hakata ward of Fukuoka, in Higashi Hirao Park. First football-specific stadium ever built in this city. Beautiful setting, not too far away from the airport. Let's have a look at the team news. Avispa Fukuoka make 2 changes to a winning side from that which started the victory at Cerezo Osaka 8 nights ago. Ryogo Sato replaced the injured Kazuya Kono early in that game and does so again from the start today. Itsuki Oda returns to the back 4 in preference to Masato Yazawa, who had started the last 2 games but is back on the bench tonight. Up front, Yuya Yamagishi is their 7-goal top scorer, whilst alongside him, Lukian scored the winner at Cerezo last week. Shun Nakamura remains sidelined by injury. Akihiko Iguchi from Hiroshima is our referee. A 14th game of his J1 season. He's reached for the red card, actually, in the last two of them. Experienced official taking charge tonight. Suro Yoshida has the VAR responsibilities in the booth this evening. Just the one change for Consadole Sapporo from their 1-1 draw at Vissel Kobe last time out. Homegrown centre-back Toya Nakamura comes into the back three in place of Daiki Suga, who begins on the bench. The first time in J1 this season that Suga hasn't started when available. We also have last year's top scorer, Ryota Aoki, back amongst the subs after 8 games out with a hamstring injury. In attack, though, there is a third straight league start for Superchop, scorer of their goal in Kobe a week ago. He and Komai likely to play just in behind the top scorer, Yua Asano. Shigetoshi Hasabe led Avispa Fukuoka to an 8th place finish a couple of seasons ago, but a vastly experienced opponent in Misha Petrovic, taking charge of Consa for the 250th time this evening. Nobody has taken charge of more games in J1 in its history than Petrovic. Passed that record earlier in the season, now in a 6th year with Hokkaido Consadole Sapporo. They'll be in their changed colours, all in the white. As we get the action underway here. 4 points and 4 places between the teams at kick-off. Not much between Avispa Fukuoka and Consadole Sapporo on the field either. 4 of their last 5 meetings ending all square, including a 2-2 draw at the Sapporo Dome in April when they squared off earlier this season. It's the visitors first to launch an attack here. Great entertainers this season. Vulnerable at the back certainly, but free scoring at the other end. In contrast to their opponents. They were really impressive defensively last week in shutting out Sarazawa Zaka. They've certainly struggled for goals of their own. They have scored 22 fewer than Consadole so far this season through the first 19 rounds of the campaign. Interesting clash of styles highlighted this evening. Akami, who clears it away, he's got the nod in goal for Avispa Fukuoka. Coach Hasabe has tended to rotate that role in the course of the season so far. Doesn't have necessarily an established number one. It's been the way since the midway point of last season. Takumi Nagashi, the one left out this evening, he begins on the bench. In here with Lukien. Impressive match-winning goal last week, was just his 4th of the season. The Brazilian's overall contribution has been praised by his coach, the defensive attributes that he brings to the team as well. In fact, he has actually played a bit wider in recent games this season than his more regular role through the middle, where we're expecting to see him tonight. First early issues that he's caused. Goal last week, actually surpassing his total for the whole of last season already. And he managed just 3 J1 goals. It was his first year at the club since arriving from Jubilo Iwata. Sato was the target. And he's coming into the team today. This is Lukien. This was played just before the challenge came in on Yamagishi. He was caught and wins the free kick. Last season that Yuya Yamagishi has been having. Scorer with 7 in J1. He scored actually in the 2-2 draw when these sides last met in April. Free kick to be taken by Hiroyuki Mai, who's facing a former club. 5 years he had with Consadole. Sapporo born. He is the heartbeat, really, of the Avispa side. This free kick is dealt with. So facing a former club, Tatsuki Nara. Over 100 games for Consadole Sapporo. Moving almost a decade ago. The two born on the island of Hokkaido. And today's visitors hail from the lengthiest trips in this division. Settled into their stride yet, the visitors. Picked up a point in Kobe last week in what was Andres Iniesta's farewell to J.League. Started his first game of the season for Vissel Kobe to come from behind to rescue a point. That draw prevented them going back to the top of the table. There is Yamagishi. He's got a bit too much of Lukian, he can't quite get there. Some early attacking intent from Avispa Fukuoka as well, that is for sure. Won 2 of their last 12 league matches. Lost their last 2 here at home in this division. Wins in 4 in front of their own fans, in contrast to the way that they started the season here. By Nakamura. Lukian. Touch was just over the head of Yamagishi. Yazawa. Nakamura again on his return to the team. Lucas Fernandez ahead of him. Plenty to try and pick out in a contested penalty area, just unable to do so was Lucas Fernandez. Run in the side now, 5th straight start, but only a 6th start of the season. Watching on from the sidelines earlier in the campaign. Inclusion and attacking move by Misha Petrovic. No surprise in that. The way that they play, the numbers that they get forward. Re-nicknamed Chaos, really, in the first half of this season. The rewards of that attacking approach with the goals that they've scored, but equally have left themselves wide open at times at the back. Come again, involved in a 4-3 defeat and a 5-4 victory already this season. Been big box office in this division. Figure in the heart of midfield, Takemo Arano. 14th season with them now, a one-club man in Sapporo. Asano outfit, each missed just 1 league game all season. Had a huge amount of consistency of selection, otherwise they've had big injury issues in midfield of late. Shooting chance for Sato, which he somewhat snatched at. It opened up for Ryoko Sato to have a go. Tokyo Verdy player in his first year with Avispa Fukuoka. Came on early last week because of the injury to Kono. Comes into the starting lineup as a result of that injury this evening. quite work as intended, that one. So it's Avispa Fukuoka that have the throw. Alternated between defeat and victory over the course of the last 6 games in all competitions. Look for Lukian, just waiting for the ball to bounce. Okamura was the defender with him, and it was awkward for him for a moment or so. Ever present at the back this season, Daihachi Okamura. Early signs are that he will be kept busy by the presence of Lukian this evening. Nakamura. Fernandez ahead of him. Here's Okamura, little period of Consadole possession. Miyazawa, another vastly experienced one-club man. 16th season with their senior side, now the captain. That's well worked. Neat little layoff as well. Komai was trying to get there, still might. This is Komai goes down. Referee had a look at it. Finding form and fitness after missing the start of the season with a serious knee injury. Just didn't quite know where the ball was for a split second or so, but he was quickly onto it. Because Fernandez did well to reach that. He to try and quickly close down Sato as well. Arano to Miyazawa. Starting to assert their authority, the visitors, 10 minutes in. Yuki did well to come away with that, makes himself available again. That's usually the case. He'll want the free kick, he will get the free kick. Who's been ever present for his club this season in this division. So important on both sides of the ball, really, is MEIJI. This will always be a match that matters to him. Against the club where he started his career, had 4 years in Consa's first team. First 3 of them were actually in J2 before promotion. It was that promotion which effectively cost him his starting spot, though. Wasn't necessarily considered ready to step up a level at that stage of his career. Faces them today with much more experience. Really, but not quite. A key figure on the right. Also just dried up a little bit for him, hasn't scored in his last 3 matches now, after 5 in his previous 5. But 8 goals to his name in this league so far this season. 4 times as many as the whole of last season. Options here for Consa. Fernandez to seize up the shot. Now maybe the counter-attack. Here's Lukian. As well, he's away from Okamura. Lukian is unselfish. He's forced away from goal, which made his mind up not to go directly for goal. As White just got back in the way in time. Hurt himself in the process, the Brazilian here. That started inside their own half. Also having pushed plenty forward, were quick to get them back again. It's an early example of the kind of chaos that I was talking about. Decided attack in such numbers. Have to rely on getting those numbers back as quickly as they can. Does look like a bit of an issue for Lukien, and this will be a real concern for Avispa Fukuoka. He's been central to the early story so far this evening. Match winner last week, comes into the game in good form. Looked pretty innocuous, I think that's probably where it happened. To keep an eye on. Coach Hasabe, who might want to make a change at this stage. He does have another Brazilian on the bench who would be the likely replacement, a 35-year-old Wellington. Has been used almost exclusively in the league as a substitute this season, just the one start, but he's their most used sub 14 times. The plan will be to bring him on later, though. He will be given every chance to continue. Target again here, this will test him out as well to reach it. It's Okamura who's got to close him down. They do play this man-marking system, the Consa. It certainly looks as if Okamura has been given the difficult task of dealing with Lukien. I wanted it back, might yet come for him here, and does. Idaguchi, midfield player on loan from Celtic. Once it again, helps it on to Kanamori. There's Oda into it. Sato. By Yamagishi, deliberately so. From Avispa Fukuoka asking a few more questions in attack, but as soon as those questions are answered, here comes the counter with Superchok. See what he was trying. He never started a J1 game, Superchok Sarachat, until 3 games ago. Now getting a little run in the starting lineup. Certainly his goal last week in Kobe will have further helped his cause in that respect. His second of the league season. A couple of goals in the cups to add to that. A player who was 4 times the champion of Thailand with his previous club. This is Arano. Shut out though by Kanamori, who is moving quickly through the gears, and he does have support, but he just showed a bit too much of that to Okamura. Ultimately rendered that support somewhat academic. Won in the last 4 games in all competitions. Consa won 6 of the previous 7, but it is just 3 defeats in their last 11 in total. In the League Cup as one of the best runners-up behind Yokohama F. Marinos in their group, who they will face again in the quarter-finals in September. Avispa Fukuoka also qualifying for the last 8 of that competition. They top their group. Just the 1 defeat, the 4 victories, and then we'll play FC Tokyo in the quarters later in the campaign. Much in it so far. A bit more of the ball for those in white. It's Douglas Grolli, the Brazilian centre-back, guiding it back for Murakami, his keeper to clear. Started 6 of the last 8 in goal now as Murakami, despite the fact that Nagashi has still played more frequently than him in the league this season. Between the 2 goalkeepers, according to regular observers of this side. It appears that Hasabe, the coach, shares that perception as well right now. Gucci in the way. So Consa will come again. Plenty in advanced areas in white. Just couldn't quite pick that final ball. Ryuki Mai intervenes. Gishi will chase after it, couldn't quite put the pressure on that he was hoping for. Quite been able to get Kaneko into the game just yet. The ball back here. Switches the play for Lucas Fernandez. Beautifully brought down. Douglas Brolly clears. This is Mai, who was caught. Or was he? The referee had a very good look at that. He was in a very good position to do so, in fairness. And let's it continue. Forward by Lucas Fernandez here. Trying to find Asano. This was by Maijima. Fernandez again, heavily involved just at the moment, drifting infield from that starting position on the left. His 5th year at the club. Just won back that regular role recently, as I mentioned. Now Avispa Fukuoka have won a free kick to relieve some of the pressure that had just been beginning to build. Lukian. Sato was trying to take advantage. It was awkward for Lucas Fernandez, having kept it in. He'll settle for that. Oda lining up on the right-hand side of the defence. Maijima on the left. There had been a little bit of speculation before the game that it might have been the other way around. Through for Lucas Fernandez that time. Notable though that Consa have to leave Denki Suga on the bench. Only missed one game all season in the league before today, and that was through suspension for yellow card accumulation. And they come in his absence. Suga brought up 200 J1 appearances, the youngest player in the history of this league to reach that number. Petrovic has left him out today. It's perhaps the most notable omission when the team sheet came in. So on that bench, though, he does have last season's top scorer, Ryoto Aoki, fit again after 8 games out with a hamstring injury. Yuki Kobayashi coming back to fitness as well. He's been brought off the bench in the last 2 matches after returning from a hamstring injury. Sort of problems that have blighted their season so far. Targeting a top 3 finish this year in Champions League qualification, having ended up 10th in each of the last 2 seasons. So far, Consa have fallen short of those sort of standards. Coming into the game today in 8th position, but just 4 points. Well, for Avispa Fukuoka down in 12th in the table. Congested in that mid-part of the division. Reached the midway point of the first half here with nothing between these two. Give time for Murakami to set his sights, but his clearance actually has gone all the way through to his opposite number, Takanori Sugano. The first choice goalkeeper again for Consadole of late. It's a 9th start in succession for him now. Son Young on his return to the club for this year had begun the season as first choice in goal. Really to replicate the form that he'd previously showed before he had to return to South Korea for a couple of years for military service. was Kanamori who delivers the cross. Fernandez back defending in his own box. So plenty of confidence in doing so. A little bit of space here now for Consa. Nakamura interchanging roles really with Fernandez. Slipping it through. Superchok tried to return it, he will have to settle for the corner. Good grab to get there, did Superchok. Suki Nara did enough to prevent the cross from coming in. Concede only the corner. It's his former club. Here's Fernandez to take. To aim at in a congested penalty area. It's a good effort, had time to size up the shot. Just couldn't quite keep it down. Kamai who hit it. Just a couple of league goals so far. The former Urawa Reds player is now in a sixth season with Consadole. Starter since his return to fitness, cruciate ligament injury that had sidelined him at the start of the campaign. Quite come for Lukian. Touch off Miyawazawa just prior to that, and now they'll look for Superchok, who will get there ahead of Nara. And we're taking over. Asano involved there as well. Did look a threat. Clear-cut chances have still been at a premium, really, in this opening quarter of the game. Sapporo are involved. That is maybe something of a surprise over the context of the season that they've had. And that Petrovic wants his team to play. Been really strong away from home, despite all the travelling involved, losing just 2 of their 13 away games in all competitions this season. One of those at F. Marinos in the Levine Cup. Red's the only team to beat them at home this season. And the first 4 of Consa's away games were all drawn in 2023. They did actually keep clean sheets in 2 of their first 3 away matches this season, but they haven't done so in the 10 games on their travels that have followed. No, they haven't failed to score in the last 10 away games either. It would be a surprise if this current scoreline were to stay that way. Forward by Lucas Fernandez, good ball. Douglas Crawley was just shown enough of it by Asano to be able to clear. On Kanamori. There have been some notable meetings between these clubs, a lot of them actually down the years in the second tier of Japanese football. They've been playing in J1 against each other over the last 3 seasons since Fukuoka's promotion. And they came up as J2 runners-up in 2020. Impressed the following season in finishing 8th, the highest they've ever finished in this division. There was something of the second season syndrome for them last year, ended up 14th. Needed a late rally to preserve their status and avoid a return to the second tier. Ambitions a little loftier this year, particularly given how they started the season. With only one team going down this year, the expectation is that they should be fine. Here's Miyazawa. We have seen Avispa Fukuoka pressing much higher this season and more frequently than we're used to seeing them, but not necessarily been the case so far tonight. Understandable, given the way that Consa play. Well, one back by Tanaka. Tanaka couldn't quite provide the cross. Come again, though. Touch for Superchok in there and again. Komai. Able to play the pass that he was intending. At least unable to complete that pass. And now maybe the counter from the home side. Strong challenge. Just from end to end, really. Asano has covered good ground and continues covering that ground before Arano's shot was blocked away. He does have 3 goals from midfield. Takuma Arano. Keep the pressure on here, Lucas Fernandez. Hiroki Miyazawa. It's a little loose, but Nara was able to clear. We'll come back again here. Really well worked, and there is Superchok to stick it away. First time really that Consa have got in behind, and it's another goal for Superchok Sarachet. On target last week to earn a point against Vissel Kobe. He marks just a 3rd ever J1 start with his 3rd J1 goal. He was the player in the perfect position to profit, but a lot of credit here goes to Toya Nakamura for the way that he got in behind, for the way that he lost Itsuki Oda to provide the service. Presence of mind just to pick out Superchok right in front of goal. He scores for the 2nd game in a row. Needed that extra touch just to finish it off, but he was afforded that extra touch. That's 5 goals for him now in all competitions this season. Just over half an hour it has taken Hokkaido Consadole Sapporo to go in front at best Denki Stadium. There'd been little really between the two teams. You couldn't necessarily argue it had been looking particularly likely. Made the breakthrough of Consa, and they've given themselves something to work with here. As I was mentioning, they usually score. Equally, they usually concede. So you would imagine this is only the first twist in tonight's narrative. Scorer again, Superchok. Congestion through the middle. The referee's inadvertent intervention forces him to bring a temporary halt to proceedings here. Some story though, isn't it, in his 2nd season at the club for Superchok. Never started a J1 game before a 1-1 draw with Sarazawa Zaka late last month. First ever start for the club at Sagan Tosu in the League Cup in March. First goal in this division came off the bench at Shonan Belmare in May. Before he doubled his tally last week, and he's added another one tonight. Real credit, as I say, though, to Nakamura, who made it. Putting himself in the right positions though, which is why the goals have started to follow. caps. He has 6 goals for Thailand. Debuted for them as a teenager. Started 4 of their friendlies this year, including both matches that they played in June against Hong Kong and Chinese Taipei. He's returned really since then to become a regular for his club. Try and chase this one down. Murakami to clear. Goes Lukian, who's continuing his complaints with the referee as the game goes on around him. Well, Lucas Fernandez, it's a good ball. Komai able to react quickly and get a touch to that. 3 in the penalty area. Then it's all of them overhit, really. There's a tall order for Avispa Fukuoka from here, given their lack of goals this season. Looking to pile on the problems for them. Started to add an end product. That wonderful dribbling style that he has. I mentioned just those 18 goals that they've scored through their first 19 games of Avispa Fukuoka of the season. 5 of those have been penalties. A real lack of a goal threat from open play. To rely on getting wide and getting crosses in to create chances. We haven't seen much of that so far tonight. Free kick has been given here. The referee had spotted it. Just wants to check on the well-being of Hiroki Mai. Lukian. Also get the free kick. A little more advanced territory this time. Get away with too many more, I don't think, Miyazawa, before the card comes out. That appears to be the message from referee Ikuchi. It's a fairly cynical one, wasn't it? Challenge from Sato. Yamagishi couldn't quite trick his way through, not initially anyway. He's not giving it up though. And the referee will pull it back and award the free kick. And a challenge on it. If anybody is capable of getting Avispa Fukuoka back into this game, you suspect it would be Yuya Yamagishi. In the season that he's had so far, his 4th season with the club. Those that had stepped up from the lower leagues to seize his chance in J1. Standing over it. When they last met in April, Avispa came back from 2 behind to earn a point in Sapporo Dome. Touch short. Might have hit it. It was an awkward one for the goalkeeper, who couldn't hold it. The follow-up is in, but the flag is up. Douglas Growley it was who turned it in. This will be one for VAR to check. Too quickly to the centre-back, who hasn't scored all season. Stuck it away and asked the question. Referee Ikuchi waits for the answer from Tetsuro Yoshida, the video assistant referee. I think it's going to be offside. The left arm, at least, of Douglas Growley was in an offside position when that free kick came in. It's important that Hasebe side can respond strongly after going behind. Check is still going on here. Suggests it might be a little bit closer than initially suspected. likely goal scorer, Douglas Crawley. He scored in J1 once previously, back in May of 2021. We're not talking fractions here. MEIJI, who hit it, it was awkward for Sugeno in goal. He couldn't hold it, particularly in these conditions. Even more difficult for goalkeepers. Crawley doing what he was in there to do in the way that he followed up and stuck it away. The time this is taking does suggest it is very close. Big bearing on the entire mood inside the stadium heading towards half-time, whichever way this decision goes. Kanamori doing his best to find out early, but he doesn't like the decision when it comes. It is not going to count. The original decision of offside stands, and it's no goal. But it was close. How close, looking at the lines. Just that left arm of Douglas Crawley. Just went a split second too early as it turned out. Four years on since he arrived from Portuguese football with Maritimo. Previously played back in Brazil with Bahia as well. A regular at centre-back this season. Just for a moment must have thought that he got his name on the score sheet for the first time this season, but that slender concert lead remains intact going into the final 5 minutes of this first half, which will be extended a little bit now by the amount of time it took for that video review. By Nakamura for Consa. Again, as he did for the goal with Super Choc. Fernandez. Nakamura once more. So risen through the ranks. Consadole. Third year now with the senior side. It's his 8th start of the season. Used more frequently off the bench. Gone out of play. Really relented at any stage of proceedings so far. Crawley left to reflect on what might have been, I guess. What a difference that might have made if they levelled it up at that stage of the game. As it is, it's Consa in search of their second. Lucas Fernandez is in full flight here. Quite go all the way through as he appeared set on doing. A couple of goals in the cup competitions this season, but yet to open his account in J1 for 2023. Just got to it ahead of Lukia. Maybe quite able to bring the bouncing ball under control. Ryuki Mai. There's Oda. Not necessarily want to see his part in the goal again. It's Suki Oda. He was the defender beaten by Nakamura in the build-up. Failed to score in 3 home games in all competitions this season, but they have all come in the last 5 home games, actually. Avispa Fukuoka, as Ideguchi tries to force his way through. Improve that particular statistic. But, beaten to the ball. Lovely weight on the ball as well. They're in almost for two. That was an important challenge that just made it that bit more difficult for Yuya Asano. He would have backed himself to score from there when the ball was played, I think. Timed his run to stay onside, but Tatsuki Nara coming across, covering. Just able to get to him in time. So he's gone 5 league games without a goal, having scored 6 in his previous 6 for the season so far. In the context of his evening, that was a big chance. Little margin for error in making that challenge for Tatsuki Nara. Kanamori, who'd hooked the cross in back from the byline. It's dealt with by Consadole. Last minute of the first 45 here. You'd imagine be a bit to add on at the end of it. Primarily because of that video review, if nothing else. Leaves it for Douglas Crowley. Shima coming under pressure. And there's a confirmation of 4 more minutes to be added on from here. So the first half not quite finished yet. Avispa Fukuoka certainly aren't finished yet in pursuit of parity before the break. Sato was on the charge. Laura came across. So disappointed that there wasn't further reward for him to emerge from there. Deguchi goes back to his goalkeeper. Really got Sato away in those sort of positions as frequently as Fukuoka would have liked. See why he's so important to this team. He's everywhere in the midfield. He's always the one making himself available, really, to take possession. Nara striding out from the back. Closed down by Superchok, whose goal remains the difference. There's Sato. Oda. Avispa trying to finish the first half strongly. To get themselves back on terms. He scored 1 goal though in their last 4 home league matches. Doesn't all go too well for their chances. Deguchi. There's the suspicion that this Consadole side will always offer up chances to the opposition as frequently as they create them. Here's Kanamori. And Sato in the middle on the near post. Starting to get a bit more involved in attacking areas, Takeshi Kanamori. His second spell with his home city side as they look here for Lukian. All he could do to get something on it. Involved, wasn't he, in the early stages? Less so, it seems, since that injury scare. Hopefully it does appear that fitness-wise he's okay to continue. Just guarding that back. Superchok appealing for a free kick, which wasn't forthcoming. Ball, there's just a bit too much on it. To the last minute of the 4 added on at the end of this first half. Does look as if that goal from Fukuoka just beyond the half hour will separate them at the interval. Sato. So looking to return to winning ways. That's one victory in their last 5 league games, not in the last 4 in all competitions. In by Lucas Fernandez. Time for one last concert attack of the half here. Asano, Lucas Fernandez. Just couldn't quite dig it out from under his feet. And now maybe the counter attack. There's Lukian. He will reach it over there. He's frustrated by what follows. To an extent, that could sum up the story of his first half. First half in which Avispa Fukuoka trail by a goal to nil. Fukuoka on target again, really making a name for himself in J1. His goal just beyond the half hour is the difference. Avispa Fukuoka thought for a moment they'd levelled it. Douglas Crawley's effort, though, after a lengthy video review, was disallowed for offside. As it is, more is going to be required by the home team. They have to start finding that threat in front of goal from somewhere. Just the one so far for free scoring concert this evening, but it is such an important goal that has them ahead at Best Denki Stadium at the interval, and on course as it stands for a return to winning ways. Fukuoka again in the headlines right now. But this match remains very much in the balance. Avispa Fukuoka showing enough in attack to suggest that they could still have a significant say, and rarely this season has one goal been enough for Consa. But they have it at half-time. At the break here, it's Avispa Fukuoka 0, Hokkaido Consadole Sapporo 1.
ここで本日の中川市応援連にあたり、中川市を代表して竹末茂樹市長よりご挨拶の VTR が届いております。大型ビジョンにご注目ください。
こんにちは、中川市長の竹末です。今日は北海道コンサドーレ札幌サポーターの皆さんから来ていただいております。ようこそ福岡においでいただきます。中川市は博多駅から8分のところにあります。これは新幹線に乗った8分で来ることがあります。東の玄関口として博多に駅があります。生活のしやすさ、暮らしのしやすさなどが中川の特徴だと思います。そして、岡山クロスにはモンベルが運営しておりますベースキャンプができ、あるいは登山、サイクリングができる、そのような地域です。ぜひとも中川市でご来場いただきたいと思います。今日はアビスパ福岡との試合です。お互いに頑張ってください。よろしくお願いします。
ありがとうございました。皆様、大きな拍手をお願いいたします。さあ、お待たせしました。アビスパ福岡オフィシャルチアリーダーズのハーフタイムパフォーマンスです。それでは、アビスパチアリーダーズ、よろしくお願いします。
back, almost set then for the start of the second half at Best Denki Stadium. Hokkaido Consadole Sapporo lead Avispa Fukuoka by a goal to nil. Superchok scoring it just beyond the half-hour mark. Dissimilar stage of the game from when he gave Consa the lead at Vissel Kobe a week ago. That was a lead they held until 5 minutes from the end of the 90. Had to settle for a 1-1 draw. Scrolly had come so close to levelling it almost straight away for Avispa Fukuoka. His effort disallowed for offside. Decision confirmed only after a lengthy video review, the other major talking point really of that first half. So let us see what the second period has in store here as Consa attempt to return to winning ways. Haven't won in the last 5 meetings in all competitions between these clubs, although 4 of those were drawn. Were beaten at home by Avispa Fukuoka late last season, one of the results that helped Avispa preserve their top flight status at the time. In the last 3 visits here, though, winning 2 of those. Consa on course to extend that sequence as it stands. The goalless side didn't create too much else of note in that first half. There was that one vital challenge from Tatsuki Naura on Yuya Asano that kept the damage down as far as Avispa were concerned. Kept the deficit at 1. Hopefully they have to try and find this goal-scoring threat that has eluded them for most of the season so far. Consadole Sapporo to get the second half underway then. As we look at it from left to right in this second half, defending that slender lead. Attack really has been the best form of defence for them this season. Certainly not expect them to sit back on this lead at this stage. Who's hurt right from the restart as he challenged for that on the touchline. Felt something in the side. To have a bit more influence maybe down that right-hand side than has been the case so far. Header is by Arano. Repelled and returned by Douglas Grolly. Changes by the team at the interval. So with a few more options available on the bench now than has been the case in recent weeks, with players coming back from injury. Avispa still missing a few of their own. Shun Nakamura for a 4th straight game with a muscle problem. There is Kaneko. Able to whip the cross in, it's a good ball. Naura did well to defend it. Kaneko might get another go. Quality on the delivery there, but it was dealt with by the Avispa captain. Scrolly this time goes safety first with his clearance. Flick on is by Lukian, but there's nobody beyond him. Instead it's Nakamura to launch it longer. Tatsuki Naura's header, he might be required again here. He is required again, and he was perfectly positioned to intervene. Kept busy early in this second half is Naura. Shut the door on Superchok this time. He had got away from it. Suki Oda, who's having a difficult evening. So do get the corner as a result, though. Lucas Fernandez waiting to take it. Congested penalty area, but it didn't get that far. Being the first man on the near post. It's back for Sugano, a long way out of his area to return it. He's had an awful lot to do so far. Takanori Sugano getting a bit more involved than higher up the pitch. Kaneko with the throw. Let's have Tanaka in support. It is Tanaka now that provides the cross. Had to be dealt with. Suki Itaguchi this time, he did so. He's on loan for the season from Celtic. Gamba Osaka player, back in J1 this year. He made 3 substitute appearances in the Scottish Premiership for Celtic. Try something a bit different from the corner. Here's Kaneko, looking to switch it onto the right foot. He'll settle for another corner kick as a result of that. He has been more involved since the restart already in these last few minutes. Yuya Asano to take. Decent delivery from him. He's had a really good first season at the club since arriving from Sanfrecce Hiroshima. Quite going to reach that one though when it is returned in his direction. Some calls that started out as a joke maybe have become a bit more serious, that he should be called up ahead of his brother Takuma for Japan. Such is the impact that he's had this year. Yuya making his 100th J1 appearance last week at Vissel Kobe. Memories of that 1-1 draw away from home will still be very much fresh in the memory for Consa, and they will hope to guard against a repeat when they let a long-standing lead slip late in the game. It remains a danger as it stands right now, fueling their search for a second. Ends amicably enough, that little tussle. Fans have a part to play in trying to help their team get back in this as well. They've been on a difficult recent run in front of these supporters. Beat FC Tokyo here at the start of May, but that's the only home league win in the last 6 for them. Goes towards Yamagishi. He's not quite had the service so far tonight. He's equally capable of providing the service as well as being a finisher. Kaneko, and again, here come Consa. Lucas Fernandez takes over, thought about taking on the shot. Instead he was trying to find Asano, I think, far post. Just got a bit too much on it. It was an awkward one for Oda, he couldn't reach it. Cost his team possession as a result. Super chop. Making himself an option as well. Wider to Fernandez. Quite have his angles right. Now they have a threat on both flanks, really. Consadole. Side is set up is allowing Lucas Fernandez to concentrate on attack rather than reflect too much on his defensive responsibilities. It's a painful one. Yamagishi and Okamura have stayed down. Each only really had eyes for the ball here. Concern for each other, I think, as well. Centre-back Okamura, but is first back to his feet. Going to see the first change of the game. No surprise, maybe, given the way that it's gone, that it's Suki Oda who makes way. player whose place he tuck in the starting lineup tonight is his replacement. Masato Yuzawa is on. Had started the 2 previous games before finding himself back on the bench this evening. Not for too long, as it's turned out. The former Vanpere Kofu player introduced into the action. He himself had a little spell out of the side through injury recently, missed 6 matches. He's been a regular for most of the season otherwise. He's on. Ryuki Mai will take the free kick. There's a bit of time and space to attack it. That's what Douglas Grawley was attempting to do up from centre-back, but no real threat at the end of it. If anything, that rain is coming down maybe a little heavier. He's not going to give this one up, isn't Lukian? Did run out of room in the end. To the relief of Okamura, he certainly appeared convinced that he wasn't going to be required. Well, they still have belief, those home fans. Lost 3-0 in the last home game against Vissel Kobe. Trailed only by a goal to nil at this stage of that game as well, before Muto's double. There's Asano. He's looking for Superchok. Sugano. Now we're getting a bit too tight on that occasion. It was always likely to be a free kick. It was right under the nose of the referee as well. He's had a good game so far, Tatsuki Nara, against his former club. And he's needed to. Came through the youth ranks with Consa. For FC Tokyo in 2015. He's played for Kawasaki Frontale and for Kashima Antlers since then. He was a 2-time title winner, actually, with Frontale. 2017 and 2018, player of proven pedigree in this league. So important to Avispa Fukuoka these days. Superchuk back on his feet. Back on the ball. Be a free kick. Promising position potentially for Consa to get this into the danger area. Lucas Fernandez quickly back on his feet is the one that will assume the set-piece responsibility. Those that have made the long trip, hoping for further reward here. Taken short into the feet of Superchok initially. Now Kaneko has got time to size it up. He will float it in threateningly and onto the roof of the net. Just for a moment, Murakami in goal was worried by that. Too many saves to make, actually. Saki Murakami, there wasn't much he could have done about the goal that went in, and ultimately wasn't required on that occasion. Kimura come up from the back to try and make his presence felt in the opposing penalty area. So again with a strong header there. Kaneko's throw. Asano. There's Nakamura. See the damage he can do in that type of territory. He's left to get forward when possible. Way through for him, but there still might be for Consa. Big shout for a free kick. It's waved on by the referee. And if Douglas Grawley, who'd done well to deal with that and come clear with it, had been able to find Yamagishi, that defence would have turned into attack in an instant. The Consa complaints continue that they didn't get the free kick they felt that challenge merited. It's a good ball. Lovely way to pass the game, but it just skips away from Komai, enabling Murakami to come and gather and take it away from him. On the periphery for a lot of the game, Yoshiaki Komai so far. This is his 12th straight start in J1. Too long, I don't think, before Kobayashi is called for by Consa. Kian will set off after this one, and he may well reach it. Miyazawa taking a tumble just prior to that. Increasing the urgency. Because of that, the volume levels from the stand as well. It appears that the referee here is coming across to the pitch side monitor to have a look at this. Big appeals at the time when Komai went down under the challenge of Douglas Grolly. It's right on the edge of the area, and if that is adjudged to have been a foul after this video review, we could well see a penalty, because it looked to be just, and we're talking the merest of margins, just inside when the initial contact came there. Clearly outside the area when he fell. Wasn't given even as a free kick at the time. The referee allowed play to continue. After the first possible break in play, he's gone and had a look and pointed to the spot. Oh, big call, big moment in the match. And a chance for Consadole Sapporo to double their lead here. It's another video review which goes against Douglas Grolly, who saw a goal of his own disallowed for offside in the first half. Would have been an equalising goal. Now involved in another major moment. He's continuing his complaints. But Murakami will have a penalty to face after the review. And a chance here for Consa to not necessarily move out of sight, but certainly to stretch further clear in a manner in which they weren't able to do, ultimately to their cost in Kobe last week. And a failure to score the second goal cost them late in the match. They had to settle on that occasion for a share of the spoils. 2-0 lead just beyond the hour in Fukuoka tonight would put them in a position of real strength. And a lengthy wait here for Takuro Kaneko, who's going to take it. Hasn't scored in his last 3 games, after 5 in his previous 5, but he has scored both previous penalties this season. Into opposite corners, so the data not much help really for Murakami in goal when deciding which way to go. Kaneko. Big pressure penalty this. Means much in the context of the game, certainly. Kaneko hits the post. Oh, he can't believe it. A huge opportunity spurned. Well, he sent the goalkeeper the wrong way, but it wasn't quite precise enough. And he doesn't add to the 8 goals that he's already scored this season. And will that come back to cost Consa? Avispa Fukuoka change is on the way in the immediate aftermath. First change of the game. Wellington comes on in place of Ryogo Sato, who's been on the fringes really for most of the game. The experienced centre forward takes his place. First season of his second spell back at the club after a productive 3 years here that he had previously. But not a productive penalty from Kaneko. It's a major missed chance. Now we're coming under pressure. He felt there was a foul. So ultimately did the referee. Stutter in the run-up. He had an awful lot of time to think about it. Took Murakami out of the equation as he dived the wrong way. It was spared by the frame of his goal. There is still just the one goal between these teams. So Avispa Fukuoka with renewed belief maybe after surviving that scare that there's something in the game for them yet. There's Kaneko, central to the story right now. He did well to get his head to that, to steer it down into the path of Asano. All he can do to return it to Kaneko. Got 3 to try and pick out in the penalty area. Flashed in towards Komai. Stepping up their search for a second now. Consadole. Strong play from Yuya Asano. It didn't open up in front of him, but he made sure that he kept hold of the ball. Really could have gone anywhere when the cross from Kaneko came in. Laura comes flying across to get his head on that. Scored in the 4-3 defeat against Frontale at the start of April, his only goal of the season. In some high-scoring thrillers this season. This one's still very much in the balance at the moment, with just that single goal between them. Doesn't tell the whole story. And now, space for Lukian. They couldn't cut it out, and Lukian is in on goal as a result. He's unselfish, and Wellington, who's just come on, will score. As the Brazilians combine, and Avispa Fukuoka level it up at 1-1. Just minutes after a penalty hit the post at the other end, which might have put the game beyond their reach, they are level again. And that might well be Wellington's first touch since he came on as a substitute. They couldn't cut out the through ball to Lukian though, which left him in all sorts of space, and he was really unselfish here. Could have taken the shot on himself, but saw his compatriot in a better position. He wasn't going to miss that. It's his first league goal of the season. He scored 3 times in the Cups this year. In the first season of his second spell at the club. But what a crucial contribution so swiftly after joining the action. The midway point almost of this second half. And it's 1-1. And it's Avispa Fukuoka with the belief now that they could maybe go on and complete the turnaround, go on and win the game. Here they come with Kanamori. That's the first goal in J1 for Wellington since he scored for Shonan Bellmare at Shimizu S-Pulse in September of last year. In the Emperor's Cup this season, a couple in the League Cup competition. Avispa Fukuoka's most used substitute this season scores within moments of stepping off the bench. And here they come again with Lukian. again, he's done well! Oh, the finish is fabulous! What a turnaround! Another substitute who scored this one, Yasuda. Wow! Well, hands up, who saw this coming? Consa certainly didn't. And it's the first league goal of the season for the fullback, Masato Yasuda as well, who took it beautifully. Once more, Lukien heavily involved. He claims the assist. But it's the fullback who finds the finish when striding onto that. Goalkeeper got a touch to it, got fingertips to it, did Sugano, but he couldn't keep it out, and having had very little to do in the game, he's suddenly been beaten twice in a matter of minutes. Never scored in J1 before in his career. He'd never scored a league goal for Avispa Fukuoka before. But Yasuda has such an important one here. Now changes, Fukumori and Suga on for Miyazawa and Lucas Fernandez as Misha Petrovic rings the changes, because all of a sudden the dynamic has changed completely. The width of a post away from going 2-0 in front, all of a sudden Consa find themselves 2-1 behind. 2 goals in 3 minutes for Avispa Fukuoka. 2 inspired substitutions by Shigetoshi Hasebe, as it's worked out. Both of them on target, both for the first time in the league this season, and both made by Lukien. He was then involved in that off-the-ball clash with Nakamura. Oh, what a last 20 minutes we've got coming up here now. I said hands up who saw this coming. Where Consa are concerned, though, you never quite know. Anything, I guess, is possible, and we've seen further confirmation of that in the last few minutes. Now we see a yellow card for the first time in the game. Referee Okuchi shown red in his last 2 matches. Kept them in his pocket until now, but Lukien going into the book for that. Barge off the ball, and rather unnecessary, really, in the context of the few minutes that he has had. It's also a costly caution, because it will spell a suspension. It's his 4th yellow card of the campaign. He will miss the next league game. It's the bottom club shown in Belmare in 8 days' time. In the meantime, here comes Kanamori again. And temper's boiling over. So much at stake. Arano's only just taken over the captain's armband after Miyazawa went off. Reacted angrily to that. Frustration is all too evident, though, for those in white. The referee wants a word here with Arano, also with Kanamori. And it ends in smiles, for now at least. Like he had just slipped. Kanamori, after the dancing feet had carried him so far, didn't like what followed. Lukien. Almost the game made something of that. Forward by Tanaka. Kaneko, his penalty miss looks all the more costly now, doesn't it? Determined to try and make up for that. Didn't quite reach Superchok, and instead the counter. Yasuda again was on the move. Not quite for him this time. And already such a memorable moment in his career with the goal that now separates the sides. Did score this season in the 3-3 draw against Kashiwa Reysol in the League Cup back in March. Second group game in that competition. He puts the pressure here on the goalkeeper, and Sugano just about got away with it. First goal in league football for Yuzawa since the summer of 2018 in J2 for his former club Vamfere Kofu. That you would know it from the manner in which he took it. There goes Kaneko in full flight, free kick will follow. Final 15 rapidly approaching, which should be fascinating. Finished 2-2 when they last met in April. The possibility of a repeat. The substitute Fukumori standing over the free kick. Regular for much of the season. He has just lost his starting spot over the last few weeks. Take the free kick here and dinks it in dangerously. Hasn't been dealt with and somehow stays out. Oh, big scare. Tanaka up from the back. Was almost able to make something of this. Didn't have a lot of time to think about it as the goalkeeper came out quickly. He does have 3 goals this season, ever present at the back, Shunta Tanaka. A solitary cap for Japan. Famously came whilst he was still at university at the end of 2019. So the only club that he's known since the end of that university career. Much become a stalwart of the side. They need to summon something and soon because of 3 minutes, which has turned this game on its head. 2 Lukian assists, 2 goals scored by Avispa substitutes. First Wellington and then Yuzawa. It's made all the difference. On course now as it stands for back-to-back wins after that victory at Sarazawa Zaka 8 days ago. Last Friday night. First time they scored 2 in the league since the 2-2 at Consa in April. From Ideguchi. Spent without playing at Leeds United as well before his time at Celtic. Did Yosuke Ideguchi. Relatively recently returned from injury to become a regular again in the heart of the Avispa midfield. A free kick here. Going right in front of the referee. Again, it's conceded by Nara. I think maybe for accumulation as much as anything, he's going to go into the book here. The referee does have the yellow card out. Komai, who was caught, and he was clearly caught there, looking at that. To the book goes the Avispa captain. Treatment for him will follow here. Club who only moved to Fukuoka in 1994 from Fujeda. First originally founded over 41 years ago. It's of 2 seasons ago, as much as they've been able to celebrate in this league. No surprise to see Yuki Kobayashi come on at this stage. Komai, who was caught in the concession of that free kick, is the player replaced. Kobayashi makes a 3rd straight appearance off the bench after returning from a hamstring injury. It's been an injury-hit season so far since he joined from Vissel Kobe. Feature off the bench against his former club last week. Asano here is in! Oh, it scores! But it's not going to count, I don't think. The celebration's cut short. Fabulous thumping finish. but again thwarted by the flag. Let's have another look at this. Oh, again it's close because of the defender on the far side of your picture. So subject to another VAR check here. Disallowed for offside, as was Douglas Grolly's effort for Avispa Fukuoka in the first half, and it took a long time to clarify that that was the correct call. Will we see something similar here with Consa, who are leading at that stage of the game, now going in pursuit of an equaliser, but they're not going to get it on this occasion because the check didn't take too long this time. And their offside decision is confirmed. Petrovic's team still trail. Plenty of drama in this second half, though. Time yet for more. Here's Wellington working it wide at Kanamori. Cross. That bent his run and was almost able to get on the end of it. Instead, they will settle for a corner kick. And in search now of attempting to stretch their lead. Scored 3 in a league match all season. So in the Cups on a couple of occasions. Ryuki Mai to take the corner kick. See players all round about the penalty spot. And it's aimed in that direction. It's Wellington. And despite the number of players in there, it was effectively a free header, which he has steered wide. Just needed to get that on target, and it would have been so difficult for Sugano to reach it. And Wellington will wonder, despite the impact that he's already made on this game, whether a failure to score from that position will be costly. I suspect it might. But he seemed to go with him. And it was an easier header than I'm sure he was expecting it to be, judging by his reaction as well. Seen enough to suggest there is more goals maybe in this game yet. Here's Mai. Strong run out from the back by Nakamura, which ultimately didn't take him too far. By Superchop. Seems a long time ago now, doesn't it? And he put Consa in front, looked for a lengthy spell as if he might be the match winner. To come up with something else. Now we're going to see another centre forward summoned, and it will be the end of Superchuk's evening. So if his goal is to count for something, somebody else is going to have to step up for Consadole. Just beyond the half-hour mark when he put them in front here. It's a lead that they held until the midway point of the second half. Wellington's goal. Avispa back on terms. 3 minutes later, Yuzawa had them ahead. That's how it stands going into the closing stages here. Out-and-out centre forward though, thrown into the fray in Kim Gun-hee. He does have, disappointingly really by his standard, just the one league goal all season. It's the 4th straight game that he's come off the bench. Did score most recently in the Emperor's Cup in the second round of that competition against lower league opposition. Both of these clubs will be involved in midweek in the 3rd round of the Cup. Kifu at home on Wednesday for Avispa Fukuoka. Trip to the JFL side. First spot eat up on the same night for Consa. running out of time here. Changes keep coming rapidly. Avispa Fukuoka next to make a change. Saya Inoue is going to come on for Yamagishi, so the top scorer is sacrificed. Slight change of role for him since Wellington came on anyway, and Inoue, much more defensive-minded player, will try and help them hold what they have. His third straight appearance off the bench. He had never made a league appearance until the first of those. It's rapidly becoming somebody that Shigetoshi Hasebe can trust now. And his recent involvement is anything to go by. Year out of university for him, didn't feature in the first. Seems very much the start, really, of his senior career. The situation to step into here. This is Edaguchi. Touch for Kobayashi in there. Kamori was trying to pick the pass. Anywhere will do from Tatsuki Nara. Blood coming from the nose. This will need to be put on the line. He suspected Avispa Fukuoka are to keep Consa at bay in these final 5 minutes, plus whatever is added on beyond that. Kobayashi. Hoping that his subs will have the same sort of impact as Hasebe's. Kobayashi certainly has the quality to suggest that that is possible. He will leave the corner here, having helped win it. Another of the subs, Fukumori, is going to take it. Set-piece specialist in the side, the former frontale man. By Fukumori, it's a deeper delivery this time. It was an important touch from Yuzawa. Decisive touch at one end so far. He had to get back and do the day job. Get something on that at the expense of another corner kick. Fukumori's gone all the way across to the other side to take this one. Torrid conditions at the end, and what is turning into a torrid night for Consadole Sapporo. They can salvage something here. By Fukumori. Goalkeeper got a glove on it, despite the fact that Douglas Grolly had risen in front of him and not got anything on it. Now Kaneko. Kobayashi. And again. Yasuno. Back to Yuki Kobayashi. Just kept in by Kaneko. Tight to the touchline. Nakamura. Forward by Suga. One of the substitutes. First time off the bench all season. The regular starter. They're getting everyone forward now. It's the way that they play anyway, but needs must right now. Here's Kaneko. Looking back with him. And the goalkeeper grateful to be able to grab it. Murakami has it and he will hold it for as long as he is possibly permitted. Goalkeepers maybe not tested as much as they might have been on a night like this in the wet conditions. So Sugano at the other end has had little to do, but beaten twice. Now it's Avispa Fukuoka trying to put the issue beyond doubt. The goal scorer, Yuzawa. Quite keep hold of it, that could be costly. Yashi will get the free kick. Well, he's 35 now, is Wellington. He's been on the fringes really for Avispa Fukuoka for most of the season. Ichigo rolls off the bench, steps straight into the spotlight today. This goal owing much, of course, to Lukian and that little slip in front of him from the concert defence collectively that failed to cut out the through ball. Suga, no way through. He ran out of room. Consa are running out of time. Fifth game without a win this in all competitions. The ground lost. Take Avispa within a point off them, but we're not done yet, and that will be a free kick. If anything, maybe a little too close to goal for Consa's liking. Nervous moments for the home fans in Fukuoka here. Shima, who conceded it, found himself in a difficult position there. It's Nakamura that seems to be sizing it up. Suga may well fancy it. He needs no second invitation to take a shot on. He's seen that throughout his career. The 90 minutes are almost up. Mori is also now standing over it. Seems perhaps the most likely to strike this. We've got 6 more minutes to play. Confirmation from the fourth official of the amount of added time just before this free kick, which will follow from Fukumori. Difficult though, from this sort of range with that many in the wall. Go for sheer power, it's hard to get it up and down in time. Is certainly capable of plenty of power, is Fukumori. It's a bit of an angle. So wrap his left boot around the ball here. Huge moment this, Fukumori, and the wall did its job. As you always suspected it might from that sort of distance. Extended enough to be able to do its job. It was Inaguchi at the end of the wall, I think, who it came off for the corner. A further chance for Consa to keep the pressure on again. They look for that longer ball in beyond the far post. They've attempted it a couple of times. They'll get another opportunity to attempt it here, maybe. Another corner kick. So everybody that had come forward will stay forward. Avispa Fukuoka are really having to do this the hard way if they're to get themselves over the line and hold on for the win. Fukumori's certainly been kept very busy with set pieces since he came on. Here's another one. Again, it's a deep one. It's cleared as far as Kaneko. This time the whistle has gone. Kim Gun-hee was the target. I think it was he that the whistle went against. Avispa will be in no great hurry here. And again, both teams score in a Consa game, but is this going to be another one that they are on the wrong end of? 10th straight league game in succession. They both scored and conceded. Conceding twice in 3 minutes. In the immediate aftermath of hitting the post from a penalty. Sums up what has been something of a horror story in the second half for Consadole Sapporo. Lead overturned as a result. A little spell midway through this second half has potentially proven decisive. They've got 3 minutes to change that. time they go route one. Understandable in the circumstances. Kobayashi was battling for it. Keep on coming back. Arano. Kobayashi. Tanaka taking over. Asano's not quite going to reach that. Needed a touch behind. They will keep coming right to the finish. Will Consa in Fukuoka tonight. Desperate to try and reward the travelling support who have that lengthy trip to make back north at the conclusion. Good idea of the extent of the distances involved. Sapporo not too far away from Russia. Fukuoka here not too far away from South Korea. One trips don't get any lengthier than this one. It has in recent seasons tended to be a productive one for Consa. Not so tonight unless there is the most dramatic of late twists right at the end. Wouldn't rule it out given what we've seen so far. Not quite been able to get to grips with things here, and right now Avispa have them where they want them. They'll again take their time over this. Will in theory be added on. Played the 6 additional minutes that were originally indicated. But they don't have too long to wait now to really start those celebrations. It'll be the first time that they've put back-to-back wins together since match weeks 2 and 3 of this season. Campaign so strongly, Avispa Fukuoka, and signs in the last couple of games that they might be re-finding that sort of form again. They have really only played in patches tonight. Might be enough. Try and hold on to this, I'm sure. Head for the corner. Kanamori doing just that. Off the ball, and the final touch was adjudged to be his, so we go on now only at the referee's discretion. How much longer is he going to add on? Suga, certainly time for another Consa attack yet. It's out only as far as Kaneko. Kaneko whips it in, oh, and it's clawed clear by Murakami. Big save from the goalkeeper right at the end. And is that confirmation that this is not Consadole's night? There will still be another corner to come as they attempt to change that perception. Again, the deep delivery from Fukumori, but there's nothing for them at the end of it. That might just be that. It is! Victory for Avispa Fukuoka. Back-to-back wins as they move within a point of Consa in the table, a game in which they trailed for a lengthy spell after Superchok's opening goal just beyond the half hour. That's how it stayed until that dramatic period midway through the second half. Kaneko's penalty hit the post. That could have put Consa out of sight. Moments later, it was all square. Wellington had only just come on when he scored the equalising goal made by Lukian, who then turned provider again just 3 minutes later for the much less likely source of a match winner, the fullback Masato Yuzawa, with his first ever J1 goal, his first league goal for Avispa Fukuoka, and it proved to be the winning goal. Despite all the late drama and the pressure that followed, the chances that came and went for Consa, an effort from Asano disallowed for offside. Ultimately, they have fallen short, and it is Avispa Fukuoka that record back-to-back wins. A full-time score here, Avispa Fukuoka 2, Hokkaido Consadole Sapporo 1. Wow. Quite some story in the second half, after what had at times been a pedestrian, sedate affair in the first 45 minutes, but far from it after the interval. Coach Hasabe having to take real credit for his substitutions, because it was two of them who got their names on the score sheet, Wellington and Yuzawa, in quick succession to turn this around in Fukuoka's favour. But they were hanging on at the end, and this is how close Consa came to pinching a point with effectively the last attack. What a big save from Masaki Murakami, who was alert when needed to turn that one over the top. And when the corner came, it was dealt with, and there was no time left for Consadole Sapporo, who lose further ground in a season which has promised much, in which they have served up such rich entertainment. That's been the case again this evening, but those travelling fans left on the wrong end of the result this time. Second top scorers in this league, but the second leakiest defence, and further evidence of that provided in the space of those 3 second half minutes on which the match turned. Kaneko, though, will certainly be left to reflect on the one that got away. How costly his penalty that hit the post, which would have made it 2-0, and may well have had Consa on course for a vital victory. The response to the reprieve was swift and emphatic, though, and ultimately decisive. Memories that will last a lifetime for Yuzawa, who had never, as I mentioned, scored a goal in this league before. And what an instant impact from Wellington. But credit to Lukien as well for his role in both of the goals that turned this match on its head. And it might just turn Avispa Fukuoka's season right back on course again after recent stumbles. Until last week, they'd lost 4 in a row. They'd gone 7 without a victory in J1. But 6 points from 6 with just one more match to play before the fortnight's summer break in this league will change the mood in these parts entirely. Let's get some reaction for you.
それでは今日のヒーローにお越しいただきました湯沢選手です。ナイスゴールでした。
ありがとうございます。
まだゴールの感覚残ってるんじゃないですか。
そうですね、もう本当に無我夢中で、ボールを蹴ってゴールの枠に入れることだけ考えて入ってよかったです。
ゴールのシーンですが、ルキアン選手からのアシストでした。ちょっと振り返ってもらってもいいですか。
ルキアンにボールが入った瞬間にその後ろにスペースができるのが分かったんで、思いっきり走りました。
今日の試合は後半の途中から1点ビハインドからの投入ということになりましたが、どんな思いで今日は入ったんですか。
そうですね、個人的に今週すごくコンディションに苦しんですごい苦しい週だったんですけど、今日本当に